Can I retire at 59 and do Roth conversions? And what about how much retirement income can I spend? That's what we're going to talk about today. I've got Daryl and Colleen. We're going to look at their scenario here. They want to retire right now. They live in Kansas. He's 59, Colleen's 54, and we've got a couple things we need to look at. First of all, we need to ask ourselves, can we retire and how long is our money going to last? The second question we have to ask ourselves is, can we do Roth conversions? Does it make tax sense? And I want you to hang on because that's really what we're going to focus on today, taxes and Roth conversions. Daryl and Colleen have a little bit more retirement assets than the average investor. And so we're going to look at this from a standpoint of they probably can retire, but I want you to see how their retirement assets have been set up so that they can do Roth conversions, pay less taxes. That's going to help you in your retirement planning. Okay, so let's look at this. We've got Daryl and we've got Colleen. Now, they are self-employed, but they are retired. Now, here's what I want you to notice. If you're someone who's self-employed and you are running retirement software, you need to make sure that the taxes are being appropriately withheld within the software. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's act like Daryl is not retired, and let's act like Colleen's not retired. If you look at their taxes, all we do is we click right here. You see how this is showing self-employed, and you can see their Social Security taxes at 6.2%. and their Medicare taxes at 1.45%. Well, that is if they were salaried employees. That's if they were a W-2 employee, right? If you're a W-2 employee, you pay 6.2% of your check to Social Security. The employer pays the other 6.2%. But what if you are self-employed? You pay all of it. You pay all of it. So that needs to be a part of the retirement planning process. You see how just little changes can make a big difference? That's 6% in taxes. That's another 1.5% in taxes. That needs to be calculated in. And we can also add in deductions here if we have extra deductions that we need to add in to get to a net figure that is the most appropriate figure for your situation. But again, they're retired. So I digress. Now, Daryl and Colleen are both going to take Social Security at 67. Daryl's would be 3,162 and Colleen's would be 2,047. We have no pension. So Social Security is our only guaranteed income. Now, I want to go to assets. Before we go to assets, I want to warn you, don't stop the video when you see the assets, because the question's not, can I retire? The question is, can I do Roth conversions and how can I be the most efficient with my money, right? All right, so let's go to assets. So here we go. Let me scroll down. Just let me rip the Band-Aid off for you. We got $2.8 million in assets. So that's pretty good. But here's the thing I want you to focus on, okay? I want you to focus on green, green, red. Now, let me do that again. Green, green, red, right? So the red is our qualified money. What I mean by qualified money, this is IRAs, 401ks. In their case, it's simple IRAs. This is pre-tax money. This is money that you're going to pay taxes on when you pull it out. Now, this green money here, 1099 interest, that's just your bank account money. That's the money you're paying taxes on interest, right? If your bank pays an interest, or if you're at a credit union, you get a dividend, that's what you're paying. That's 1099 money. And this dark green is non-qualified. Now, what do I mean by non-qualified? Non-qualified money is your freedom money. This is the bucket of money that we want to put as much dollars into, especially if you are going to retire before 59 and a half. You want to have the freedom to use money for whatever you want. Now, if you're over the age of 59 and a half, you want to have a freedom fund to have the ability to have the freedom to spend that money however you want without having to worry about taxes or without having to worry about ordinary income taxes. Because keep in mind, ordinary income taxes are the least efficient money within your retirement income plan. So we've got $623,000 in a checking account. This is probably way too much money in checking, but he is a business owner. It's a high turnover type business, so they have to have a lot of money within, and this is business checking as well. We've got $897,000 in non-qualified mutual funds at American Funds. We've got $88,000 of non-qualified stock at TD Ameritrade. Okay. We've got another $166,000 of mutual funds at American Funds. So right off the bat, we've got 3 buckets of non-qualified money plus our business and our checking account money. So we've got these 4 buckets that we can use for retirement income without having to worry about age 59 and a half, without having to worry about, oh my gosh, this is going to cause me a huge tax penalty if I have to take this out to buy a car, put a roof on, fix my HVAC, go on a vacation, or do a Roth conversion, which is what we're going to look at. I'm going to show you why this is so good. We also have some simple IRAs, traditional IRAs, another little brokerage account, and another simple IRA. Okay. Now, we have a home of $700,000, and we have physical assets from the business that we're going to sell of about $100,000 as well. So we've got $800,000 in protected assets, of which $100,000 is going to become liquid at some point once we decide to officially slow down the business. Now, from a rate of return standpoint, we're going to do a 5% rate of return on the money in the market. The reason we're going to use 5% is we're going to be really, really conservative. Now, the market's averaged 8% over the last 50 years. That's with inflation. It's averaged 10% if you don't count in inflation. We're going to use 5. We're going to go a little bit lower single digits. If we get 4, we can look at that. If we get 6, we're going to high five and chest bump. But we want to stay a little bit more conservative, especially as you step into retirement. We don't want to be trying to get 7, 8, 9%. If we get that, great. We'll high five and chest bump, but we're going to stay at 4. Okay. We're 4 to 5. 4.35 is our portfolio weighted average. Let's bring it in the bank. Now, here's what I want to show you. Let's go to taxes. So from a tax standpoint, let's go to the year 2024. Let's get a full year of retirement. I want you to look at something. You see this 0 right here? Like 0 is my hero, right? 0 taxes. 2025, 2026. Now let's increase taxes, right? Because taxes are going to increase in 2026 by 25%. We've already done it. 2027, 0. 2028, 0. Oh my gosh, Drew, how do they have 0 tax bracket? How are they not paying any taxes? It's because of the way we've set up their money. Now, keep in mind, let's go back to assets. They've got a large amount of money in checking. We're using this as our bucket for retirement income. We're letting these other buckets continue to grow while we use this money at first. Now, you might be saying, Drew, that's not the most efficient thing they need to be doing, especially when they're over 59 and a half. If taxes are going to go up, it would make a lot of sense to start moving the money out of the simple IRA, the traditional IRA, use that for income, especially before you get on Social Security, especially before you have to take required minimum distributions, especially before IRMA kicks in, the over 65 Medicare tax. Do that first. You're exactly right. I agree with you 100%. But there is a method to my madness, right? There's a method to the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. So we've set this up to use their bank account money as retirement income. The reason is I want to do some Roth conversions, and I want to show you that. Let's go to the different scenarios. Let's go to a 7-year Roth conversion. So we're going to skip over here. Again, we're retired, okay? Taking Social Security at 67. Here's our assets, the money in the checking. But what I want to start doing is I want to start doing Roth conversions. And by doing these Roth conversions, what we're going to do is we're going to increase, let's go to 2024, we're going to increase our tax bracket because we're going to start doing conversions. We're going to pay the taxes on those conversions with, let me show you the withdrawal order, with the money that's in checking. So we're going to use this bank account money right here, the $616,000. We're going to use that for the taxes on the Roth conversions. We're going to use this other non-qualified money to live off of, which means we have to manage capital gains, capital losses, interest, and dividends. But the reason we're doing this is we're going to take money that is essentially tax-free. We're going to take money that is pre-tax, convert it to a Roth IRA, which means we have to pay taxes on that money in the year that we do the conversion, and we're going to get that money tax-free. Do you see what I'm saying? We're going to take taxable money. We're going to move it to a Roth IRA. In the middle, you got to pay taxes on that money. So we're going to move it from pre-tax to post-tax, pay the taxes, but we're going to pay the taxes with money over here that's already tax-free, sitting in a bank account. You can do the exact same thing. You don't have to have $600,000 sitting in your checking account. This is why we're doing the EKGs. We're trying to say what's going to be the most efficient route for Daryl and Colleen. Remember, they've got about $600,000, $700,000 in pre-tax money, meaning they're going to have to start taking a required minimum distribution off that money. As we defer those IRAs, those RMDs get bigger and bigger and bigger. The biggest thing to think about now for Daryl and Colleen, it's their beneficiaries. When they're beneficiaries, once Daryl and Colleen go home, they're gone, and their beneficiaries inherit those simple IRAs, those traditional IRAs, they're going to pay taxes on that money. It's a 10-year distribution schedule, okay? And if Daryl and Colleen have already started taking required minimum distributions on that money, the beneficiary is also going to have to take required minimum distributions and pay that money out over 10 years. Which is not a bad thing. I mean, getting free money and paying taxes on it, that's okay. That's like winning the lottery. Like, I'm going to pull up in my Lamborghini, right, and get my money. But we still want to be the most efficient. Why give Uncle Sam? I'm not against the government. I'm not against paying taxes. I'm all for paying taxes. But why give them extra money that you don't have to give them? We can have a plan to do this better. So we're going to use this bucket of money to pay the taxes, okay? So you can see it bumps us up. Now we're in Kansas, so there's a state income tax as well. 2025, it bumps us down a little bit. 2026, we're still in that 11 to 12% range. So let's look at that on a tax standpoint. Okay, we have no wages because we're retired. Qualified contributions, that's money that you put into an IRA or 401k. We don't have any of that. Taxable Social Security, they're not on Social Security yet. Remember, they're 59. So we're doing these conversions at 59. We've got about 7 to 8 years before we get on Social Security. Now, we could wait till 70 to delay Social Security. They have the assets to do that. I'm just showing it at 67. We don't have any pensions. So these first four boxes are zeros. Now, we've got a little 1099 interest. This is that interest we get for money in the bank. Here's our other. So this is our taxable withdrawals. Okay, now I want you to notice monthly cash flows. There's no money coming out for income. We're not being taxed on the income that we're using on a monthly basis to live. We're being taxed on our conversions. Okay, these are taxable withdrawals. Total other income of 145. So our gross income is 155,023. That's the 9929 plus this. There's that. Now here's our standard deduction of 27.7. Taxable income of 127,323. So here's our base, 89,450. Okay, that's our base. Our base tax of 10,294, and then overbase. We're overbase by 37,873. There's our overbase tax. So our federal tax is 18,626. Okay. Now that means we're in the 22% federal tax bracket, but our effective tax rate is 12. Meaning, take this 18,000, divide that into the 155. And we're in a 12% tax bracket, okay, effective, all right, because of standard deductions and how we have a progressive tax code. Down here, we have the state. Here's our state, total state tax, okay? Now, we're calculating all this in. Now, again, here's FICA, Medicare, so none of that, right? We don't have any of that. So here's our summary, $25,000 in taxes. So this $25,881, where's that coming from? We're taking it, you guessed it, from this bucket right here. And we're going to do this for 7 years. So we go to retirement. Here it goes. 145, 145, 145, 145. You see how we're doing it? We got the simple. We're doing the IRA and the simple. We're doing these transfers. 69, 32, 43. Boom, boom. Now, here's the thing I want to point out. We're going to do this for 3 years. In 2026, we know taxes are going to change. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. We know it's going to fall back to the Obama era, but we know they're going to change. So as an advisor, I'm telling them, hey, we know what we've got for the next 3 years. Like, we know what the elephant in the room is, but we don't know who's knocking at the door. So we're going to do this for 3 years. Come 26, 27, 28, 29, we may have to reassess. Here's the other thing I'm trying to do for them. I'm trying to get this done before we start taking Social Security. Because what I want to do is I don't want to cause their Social Security to be taxed more because we're doing Roth conversions, right? Because you understand that Social Security is taxed with provisional income, right? Social Security is taxed based on your provisional income. So provisional income is take your adjusted gross income plus half of your Social Security benefits plus any tax-free interest, right? Municipal bonds, treasuries, all that accounts for that. You thought those were tax-free. Really, they're not tax-free when it comes to Social Security. So if we're doing Roth conversions, that's going to bring up our adjusted gross income, which would cause our Social Security to fall into the progressiveness of being the computation of being taxed. Let me show what I mean. Here's our adjusted gross income, okay? Because here's our expenses, okay? Here's our gross income, taxable withdrawal. Here's 50% of our Social Security benefits. We don't have any tax-free interest, so our provisional income is $127,465. So 0 to 32,000 of our Social Security is taxed at 0. 12,000 is taxed at 50%. 44 plus is taxed at 85. Taxable Social Security is 33,809. Okay, so there's our max Social Security taxable. Okay, so you come down here, there's federal gross income, there's our deduction equals taxable income, and there's our basis. Okay, so you can see why what we don't want to do is we don't want to kick these conversions down here because we already have to take out money. See this 95,470? That's what we got to take out to live off of. Okay, we don't want to put this here and cause more taxes. All right, now what you can look at, go up here, let's see where we started. We started at $2.8 million. Let's go here. Once we're done with the conversions, where are we at? We're done right there. Now, Roth conversion accounts, look at this, 666,000 in Roth conversion, 616,000 in Roth conversion. And we've done that over a 7-year period. Now we've paid the taxes on it, boom, 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 about $25,000 each year. So what, 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, 175. So we paid $175,000 in taxes. That means we've paid 7% of that $2.3 million in taxes. Do you understand what I'm saying? 7% of the Roth IRA that we converted, we paid in taxes. Now, we paid it from another place, which is the same thing that you can do. You can pay it from another place. You don't have to have $600,000 sitting in a checking account. Now, if we could have used non-qualified, that's why it's so important to have a freedom fund, especially if you're in your 30s or 40s, start creating a freedom fund. If you have a 401k at work, contribute to it. Get the match. If you have IRAs, if it makes the most sense for you to put money pre-tax, traditional, do it based on your income. Contribute to your Roth IRA, your Roth 401k. But if you have extra money and you have an emergency fund that's built up, you've got 6 to 12 months of expenses, you're paying down debt, open up a taxable brokerage account. TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, Vanguard, Robinhood, whoever. It could be in your name. It could be in your and your partner's name. Start adding money into that account. Make that your freedom fund. I've got a lot of clients who have done Roth conversions, who have paid off houses, who have helped kids and grandkids, and they've retired early because they have a freedom fund, because they have the ability to retire, the freedom to do with what they want. Let's look at these scenarios side by side. Now, as you can see, there's not an issue with retiring, right? No, we're not worried about retiring. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is, can we do Roth conversions? Here's what I want to show you. Look at the print. Here's the current scenario. Here's doing Roth conversions. And we also did one more scenario down here. We called a repurpose cash and wiggle room for them, where they're out of money in 1984. What we like to do, what I like to have a little fun sometimes and say, what's the max amount of income that you can pull out of your accounts and run out of money when you want? Okay. Now, we were just messing around, so let's not think about that. But for the Roth conversions, we'd have $8,813,000. All of it's tax-free at 100. Okay, let's go over here. See how the money's a lot different? We've got some non-qualified money there. We've basically used up most of our IRA money, but we still have 196 in traditional IRA. And we've still got 561 in that simple. So that money's still passing on with some taxes in it. But over here, this is all tax-free. That's all tax-free to their beneficiaries. So let's look at this on numbers. Current scenario, 7-year Roth conversion, lifetime taxation from 59 to 100, $1.4 million. Okay. 59 to 100, $2.2 million. Which one do you want? Which do you want to pay more tax? Now, I can't tell you when you're going to die. I don't know if you're going to die at 62, 72, 82, 92. But what I can tell you is we can take steps today to pay less taxes. There's 2 areas of your retirement that are going to be the most critical. One of which we don't have to worry about with these people because they have the assets. That's healthcare, right? Fidelity said the average 65-year-old couple is going to pay about $365,000 in total healthcare in their retirement. about $11,000 a year. That's a lot of money. Healthcare is huge. You got to think about that. But taxes, that's the second thing, death and taxes. When you retire, you will die and you will pay taxes. And you will pay taxes after you die. So that's why we need to take steps today. If you don't want to pay taxes when you die, we want to help protect people now. I want you to pay less taxes now, and I want you to pay less taxes in the future as well. All right. So I hope this video has helped. Can I retire and do Roth conversions? Thank you so much for watching. God bless. Bye-bye.